Welcome back, and joining us for more on the day's markets action is Sasfin Securities' Robert Towell. Thank you so much for your time, Rob. Is the talk ticking on tech stocks?
Well, I mean, it's interesting to see they have been stretched a little bit on their valuations, especially the semiconductors. And then obviously today you saw a story out from China about a company called DeepSeek, which is a large language model, and it can do a lot of AI and etc. to compete against the likes of GPT chat. And obviously they don't need to use all of the same chipsets that NVIDIA has been selling. So you saw a very big sell-off in tech across the board, mainly on the semiconductors and especially NVIDIA, which I think was down about 11.5% when I looked last. So yes, it is a little bit of a sell-off now. I think it's only fair after a really strong run last year. Would it be more than that? We'll have to wait and see. I don't think so. I think a healthy sell-off is not bad at all. But I think that the AI component and growth in AI are still going to lead for 2025.
It's going to be also quite interesting to see the lens that investors put on to look at some of the tech stocks that are coming out with earnings this week, including Apple, Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla. So yeah, we will wait and see. Another big focus this week, Rob, is the central banks. A lot of them coming out with their monetary policy decisions. Anything specific that you are expecting from them this week?
I think all of it will be around inflation. So I think the ECB, which is Europe, ourselves, and the States. So inflation, if inflation is sticky or not, is going to be spoken about. And it'll be interesting to see what their views are of inflation going forward. I think all three banks are going to cut. We'll have to see. It's 50-50 in South Africa, and in the States also we've got Trump against Powell. The Trump wants interest rate cuts, and he wants them to be quite aggressive. So you've got that head on head. But we do think that we'll see rate cuts from ourselves and the ECB and from the States. But I think that we'll want to hear what they have to say about inflation going forward, and if inflation seems sticky to them, and therefore we get into the end of the cycle rather than mid-cycle.
All right, let's get into some company news that came out of the JSE today. Lewis coming out with a 9-month trading update. The furniture retailer seeing a double-digit growth in their top line. I did see the shares at some point surging about 5-6%. It seems like it's always a good time for Lewis, isn't it?
Yes, Lewis, they consistently deliver good numbers no matter what type of retail environment we're in, and these were really good numbers. It is till the end of December, so it does have that new two-pot system in where people got money out of their retirement savings, and you could see that in their Black Friday sales were really strong, far better than last year, and then obviously the rest of December as well. So it would be interesting to see that if we see the next quarter going forward, if that two-pot system savings has gone through the system and it's not there anymore, or if it's a really good continued cycle. Mr. Price suggested that they had really good January numbers, and Lewis is saying that that January already has been proven double-digit growth. So maybe it's more than just the two-pot system, but I think we need another quarter to check that.
Well, a property company that is exposed to those retailers is VALE. They had a festive season update today. That property company calling that period successful between December and November in both the domestic operations and also overseas there. Also something I saw when I was back home for the holiday season in the township, that those shopping centers get really full. And actually something that VALE highlighted there is that township portfolio segment was the best performing in the South African portfolio. Are we looking at a property company there that is a nice play into retail?
Yes, I think so. So obviously in South Africa, the retail shopping centers are not in the main centers, but are on the outskirts of the cities and in lower LSM areas, and I think they do really well. They also did well during COVID. They're one of the few areas that did quite well during COVID as well. So very, very sticky clientele in those shopping centers, and a lot of it is that they'll have a Checkers, a Boxer, food supply stores, etc. So it's something that the community needs really a lot in those areas. So it's a really good set of shopping centers that they do have, and obviously they've got the Spanish shopping centers as well, and they've also sold a section of their Spanish shopping centers. So I think they're really well positioned, VALE. They're not the cheapest on the market, and they have had a really good rally last year. But if you want a quality portfolio in property, I think you can't go wrong with adding VALE. They've got really good South African assets, and their Iberian assets are really strong as well. So a good set of numbers from them, at least on the footfall side. And I think that it's a really good company that you can carry on owning, and it's going to be paying a good dividend.
All right. Well, let's get to your stock pick for today, Rob. What are you choosing?
So I'm looking at Meta. Their earnings are only out on Friday, so I wouldn't buy it before then. But I think if you have a sell-off from now to Friday, I think that they really are going to benefit from AI. It fits really well into all of their different platforms that they have. They've got Threads, which is a competing product to X. They've got Reels, obviously in the rest of their social media. They've got so much that they can interact with the AI to make the experience better. And if AI is going to be becoming cheaper, their costs are going to come down. So I'm waiting for the earnings on Friday, but I think that any weakness in those shares, I would add to Meta as my stock pick.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your analysis on what has moved investors' money today, Rob. That was Robert Towell from Sasfin Securities.